Ladies and gentlemen, today I present to you the Front Vowels, the masterclass by Jerry of the Front Vowels, including the E, the A, the A, and the A. Yay! Why don't I see anyone plotting? No matter. Cool, so I have really split the whiteboard into three sections. First, there is the for example words, and then there are this sort of big rectangular sort of shape, and finally there is the thumb position. I'm just going to explain every one of them. So first we have the four words: see, big, bed, and apple. And the mouth really just sort of getting bigger and bigger after in a condescending way. And let's see this part. So this is the front vowel, so I've drawn them on the left side. And this front, back. Well, what does this mean? It sort of means if your thumb position is high or low. But whether the thumb position is high or low depends on mainly two things. One of those things is your tongue just sort of by itself moves upward or downwards. But there's another way. When you open your mouth bigger, the relative tongue position relative to the upper or palate would be sort of amplified, would get bigger and bigger after you open up your mouth. So there are two ways to increase the length, and vice versa. If you want the tongue position of your tongue and the palate getting smaller, you should just close your mouth. Okay, we have the first one, vowel, C. E. Now, how to pronounce this one is a bit difficult, just like the rest. One thing to know about all vowels is that they are all voiced sounds, and this one is particular because, okay, so these actually match up. So first, C, you can see our tongue position is really high, almost touching the palate, but not actually touching it. Now, our lips or our mouth, this part should really open up a lot in this direction. E, and these two corners should tighten up, as should the rest of the mouth. Then we would pronounce the E sound. Then let's look at the I sound. So the I sound, actually, you can see all these three are on one line, but this just moves out a little bit. And that's because if you look at this red tongue here, you can actually see that it moves back a little bit, and this tongue is sort of back a little bit, and it's sort of more relaxed than the E sound. For example, there's a word big. You see that it's really more relaxed than C. Alright, and of course the tongue position moves down a little bit too. Alright, then let's look at the third vowel. So you can notice like a big difference how I have intentionally drawn between the I and the at a large distance, and because I'm leaving that space up for the I sound, the diphthong, or the I sound. And although I will not talk about that in this class, but really your tongue position do differ a lot between the I and the A sound, and not that much between the E and the A and the A sound. So let's look at the A sound first. We can see that it's represented by this black line over here. It is relatively low, and I would even say that it is your normal tongue resting position, but a bit different. Your tongue reaches perhaps forward a little bit, and then you would just pronounce the sound. And by the way, in condescending order, the E is the smallest. Your mouth position, at least in this direction, up or down, it is really small. And then there is the A, which is a bit bigger. Then A is bigger still, and apple is the biggest. All right. So that's how I would say, how to pronounce the A sound. But let's look at the last sound, apple, or the A sound. really, I feel like that these two's tongue position relative to our jaw doesn't really change that much. Perhaps in the A sound it tenses up a little bit, the tongue, but really I think what is actually causing the pronunciation difference is our mouth opening up. Like I said in the beginning of the class, it would increase the vertical opening or gap. So that I've just illustrated it here that this is lower. The A sound is lower than the is A sound, but there isn't really much of a difference. You have to open your mouth up. So the A sound and the E sound, both of those are really tense. And you would really tense up even your vocal cord too. So basically, that's how we pronounce the four sounds. So let's rehearse these a little bit. E, C, I, big, A, bad, A, apple. Okay then, so I would make a few example sentences with each one of them, so listen up. C. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of infinite black seas of infinities. And it was not meant that we should voyage far. That's a quote from H.P. Lovecraft in his tale or novella, The Call of Cthulhu. Sea, like seas of infinity. And then there is big. There would also be ignorance. Yeah, this guy is really ignorant. Igloo. Yeah, these people in the North Pole live in igloos. Or, I don't really know. But, yeah, there you go, that's the I sound. And finally, there's the A sound. A bed. I lay on my bed thinking about the past events that had happened this day. Egg. I love eating eggs. Just ate one this morning. True story. Elephant. Elephants are the most curious creatures. Did you hear the news? There is 15 elephants raging or just migrating to the north of China, and that is really incredible because we have never seen these movement patterns in elephants before, and everyone is wondering why. Finally, apple. Yeah, I'm not going to make a sentence with Apple Watches or Apple phones or anything, but yeah, I love eating apples. Apples are great. And one last thing about the A sound, like bad. I'm the bad guy, or he's a bad guy. Okay then, finally, I will seal the scene for today's front vowels. But I hope you learned something from this because I really did put a lot of effort into it. Well, subscribe and like and do whatever else to something about the bell icon. But anyway, see you guys later.